Alright, Shalom. First off, give all praise to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring, in truth and sincerity, and the women and children who follow. This is an article I found the other day. I was, just doing a little research, and it popped up. It's on Newsweek.com, so it's a little dated, but it's still pretty relevant, so I'm definitely wanted to go over it and just get some scripture to go behind it. So with that being said, we're just going to get into it. It says, slavery reparations could cost up to $14 trillion according to new calculation. Okay, let me see. It says a permanent memorial to honor victims of slavery and the transatlantic slave trade in New York City acknowledged a tragic chapter in the nation's history, and some have argued that reparations for slavery would help heal long-festering racial strife. Okay, because we were meant as a people to go into slavery. Okay, that's how it goes, man. That's the recompense that we earned for going off and not worshiping Yahweh Shem Yahshai, Bashem Kadash, as a soul and the one and only God, the one and only power. Okay, we went off and played the whore and we worship all these other so-called gods. So that's the punishment that we receive, which was slavery. Okay, but the difference is Esau overdid it. And we're going to get into that, and that's why it's talking about reparations, a payback for all the injustice that was done. But you can't pay us back, these fiat currencies for all the injustices that you have done. And, this is my first time actually reading the article, so I'm going to give you my live reaction to the article, as I read it. But like I said before, you can't pay back fiat currency for everything that you've done. Okay, for cutting the babies out of women and using them for alligator bait. Okay, for taking non-pregnant women and using them for C-section research, the Tuskegee experiments, smallpox blankets, throwing, Jake over the ship on the way here. The conquistadors conquering the Latinos in the islands and in South America, bringing them to slavery back over in Europe. All right, you can't pay back for these things. All right, but the scriptures has a way of making it right. Okay, so we're going to get to that here in a second, but we're going to just dive into this article right now. In 1865, towards the end of the Civil War, Union Army General William Tecumseh Sherman promised slaves that they would receive 40 acres and a mule. Land was even set aside. Okay, 40 acres and a mule. That's what we were supposed to get. That's what we were promised. Okay, and it said that the land was even set aside, but the promise was recanted by President Andrew Jackson. Ever since, the issue of reparations has come up many times, often fiercely debated. Although Americans generally don't support reparations, according to University of Connecticut researcher Thomas Kramer, it matters greatly how the question is worded. Who would get reparations and in what form? For example, the idea of reparations paid in educational benefits are more popular than others, Kramer says. Yeah, because these devils don't want to make good on what they gave us. Because right now, 40 acres and a mule, 40 acres of land, if all of us got 40 acres, we would be rich. In these times, we would be rich. You know what you can do with 40 acres? You got all that land to farm, all that land to cut down trees and sell the wood, to do whatever you want to do, man. You're a landowner now. That's real money, land. We don't want no fiat currency. That land would be a more valuable thing, but we don't even want this fucking land because this land has been defiled. Matter of fact, I'm going to get that real quick. I wanted to start with a different scripture, but we're going to get that real quick. Slovakia. This is Numbers 35 and 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So this land will not be cleansed until your blood, Esau, is on this land. And how is your blood going to be on this land? Through the spirit and the power of Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rakar Kadash. Okay? He's going to stir up the spirit in this place to kick off not only Jacob's trouble here, but the world war is going to be going on, and then the missiles are going to hit, and the chariots are coming. That's how this land is going to be cleansed, through fire. Okay, you have two cleansing agents. You have water, you have fire. And the Lord said that he would not cleanse this world again with water, which hence we get the rainbow. But he's going to do it with fire, and that's going to be by the nuclear fire of the ICBM missiles, those intercontinental ballistic missiles. Okay, so we're gonna jump back into the article here. Goddamn educational benefits. So what? So you can indoctrinate us into what you want us to believe, what you want us to think? That bullshit. You ain't telling us what's really good out here. You ain't telling us how to make businesses for ourselves, how to get business credit, and how to make that work for you. That's the secrets that you keep to yourself, and you don't tell our people that. So that's why our people, turn to crime. They turn to all these things because they don't have no, they don't know no better, man. And you put us in these situations. You put us in these ghettos and in these hoods, and you basically you give us the narrative. We got to get it how we live. It says, on the other hand, one of the cases often made against reparations is that it be impractically difficult to calculate how to fairly take and give so many years after the fact. But a new paper published in the journal Social Science Quarterly, Kramer makes the case that there are other examples of historical reparations paid many decades after damages were incurred. He also has come up with what he says would be the most economically sound estimate to date of what reparations could cost, between 5.9 and 14 trillion dollars. And that's just for pretty much Jake. That's not even concluding what the Issachar had to go through, what Gad had to go through, what Reuben had to go through, and all the other tribes, because we all went through it, man. It wasn't just Judah going through it. Benjamin and Levi went through it, okay? Asher went through it. Naphtali, Manasseh, all the tribes went through it. But they're talking 14 trillion, which is mainly for just the Negroes. So what more, times that by 12. But this currency ain't worth shit anyways. So what's it even matter? But just to play devil's advocate, if you did do this, okay? If you did put 14 trillion into the economy, just bam, right there. Realistically, two things would probably happen. Number one, the currency wouldn't be worth shit. It would Carnival, yeah. That's really what's gonna happen. The currency wouldn't be worth shit. Inflation would rise so fucking fast, it'd make your head spin. Everything would go up. But you would think that if you gave everybody that much money, the economy would boom because everybody's gonna be spending money. But because the economy is so flooded with the money, it would devalue the currency so fast that they couldn't even pay that shit. So that's really what's what the reason is. They're already 21 trillion in debt. That would put them another. They'd be 35 trillion. At that point, you know, it's a super duper recession. It's a not even it's a depression, the greatest depression. So they would never do that. Since Kramer came up with those figures by calculating how many hours all slaves, men, women, and children, worked in the United States from when the children, from when the country was officially established in 1776 until 1865, when slavery was officially abolished. He multiplied the amount of time they worked by average wage prices at the time, then compounding interest rates of 3% per year, more than making up for inflation. There's a large range. There's a large range because the amount of time worked isn't a hard isn't a hard figure. Previous estimates previous estimates of reparations range from around 36 billion to 10 trillion in 2009 dollars. Kramer says those calculations mostly looked at wealth created by slaves opposed to services provided, resulting in underestimates. Kramer believes that the economic assumptions underlying his method are more sound than those used in previous papers. So basically, he's saying that this is the better formula because Esau, being the devil that he is, even though he wouldn't give you the reparations, he even bullshitted you on how much you even should get. Okay, it says the paper also illustrates several historical examples in which reparations were paid many decades later, despite being initially unpopular, showing that repayment of age-old claims is not without precedent. There's one example is the case of French spoliation claims during a 7-year period from 1793 to 1800. France attacked American ships in retaliation for the United States' neutral stance in the war between France and Britain. Kramer writes, though France refused to pay for the damage they caused to people's property during the war, hundreds of Americans sued their own federal government anyways, arguing that hostilities and damages were ultimately the responsibility of the United States. They claimed that France was retaliating for the United States' failure to pay back the European country for the support they gave to the U.S. during the Revolutionary War. By 1910, after decades of debate, the United States eventually agreed to pay back $1 million in claims, which would have been $38 million in today's money, to hundreds of its own citizens. So you pay back, those crackers back then for their house getting fucked up by France, but you don't want to pay for the goddamn labor. The whole country was built on the backs of, you know, of the slaves, and you don't even want to acknowledge it. Pretty much, you want to sweep it under the rug. You don't want to, make good on what you owe us, man. But like I said, fuck your money. We don't want your money. All right, man. I want to get some scriptures. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on. It says, Proverbs 21:18, the wicked shall be a ransom for the righteous, and the transgressor for the upright. All right, that's our ransom. You're going to be our ransom. Your blood's going to be spilled, Esau. That's the reparation. That's the payback. The big payback. That's what that is. You are. Okay? Matter of fact, let's get a couple more scriptures while we at it. Because, I'm in the spirit, things is flowing through my head right now, so we're going to keep it moving. It says, Psalms 149, I'm going to start at 6. It says, Let the high praises of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings in chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This is our honor. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord. Okay? That's our honor that we're going to get. To put you in chains. That's the ransom. That's the payback right there. That's what you deserve. That's what you're going to get. Okay? This is get some more. Because, we ain't done yet. No, we ain't done. Let me see. Bear with me. Bear with me. Hold on. Damn. All right. So, Shalakia, we back with it. This is Second Thessalonians chapter 1, and this is verse 6. It says, "Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High, Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, to recompense, to pay back, okay, to recompense, reparation, recompense, to pay back tribulation to them that trouble you." Okay, so righteous thing with the Most High to pay them back for what they did to us, for how they troubled us, for all the abominable things that they did to us. Okay, for making us, eat the nasty swine that we had to eat during slavery, and that's why we eat it to this day. All right, for them stealing our heritage, for making us to forget us as a people. This is the only captivity that we were in that we didn't know who we are. But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemashah, we back. Okay, we know who we are. We taking our title. We taking our land. We taking you as a slave. We taking everything that we came for, everything that we've been promised in the scriptures, which was the fullness of the earth. We got the blessing. Okay, we got the blessing. You had the blessing. When we took it, it's ours. You can't do nothing about that. Okay, we went off. You put us in slavery. That's cool, but you overdid it. Now, guess what? It is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense tribulation to them that trouble you. Okay, so we're gonna have some smoke and we're gonna have some trouble for you. Revelation 18:6, it says, "Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. That cup which she had filled to her double, double." Okay, everything that you did, all that bullshit that you did, we get double. You know how many people you killed? How many people you mutilated? How many spirits you broke? How downtrodden we are as the people back then and still are now, still fucking bugged out behind you fucking Esau? You did that to us. And you wonder why we call you the devil. This is why we call you the devil. For all your fucking indignation or your goddamn track record, man. You, if you still with me, you know what I'm saying, damn near 20 minutes in, the water, you know what I'm saying, for sticking with me. I'm gonna call it, I'm gonna call it right now, and just go ahead and end the video. Roswell, the rest of the article is gonna be in the description. Check it out if you got time. With that being said, call all that's all praise to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, and women and children who follow. Shalom.